So, picture this. Your dad doesn't just ignore you. He full-on bails on your mom, shatters your trust, and struts away like he didn't just ruin everything. That's AJ's life, my friend. A guy shoved into the corner, practically drowning in pure, unfiltered rage. But then, one day, AJ spots his old man with some drop-dead gorgeous young thing. And oh, she's not just anyone, she's Daddy's shiny new girlfriend. And right there, a deliciously wicked idea sparks in AJ's head, a vow of sweet, sweet revenge. He swears he's going to poach the one prize his father seems to actually give a damn about. Day and night, AJ weaves his web, luring her closer. But here's the million-dollar question. Can he pull her into his bed and get his payback? Or is his own stupid heart about to flip the script and turn this whole twisted game into something dangerously real? This isn't just a fling, it's a one-year contract with the devil. A story straight out of a spicy romance manhwa. For her, the world just melted away as she gazed up at him, those brilliant blue eyes of hers just swimming with a "this can't be real" vibe. She's whispering about how she never dreamed they could actually be a thing, how this entire steamy affair feels like some kind of fever dream. But AJ? Oh, he wasn't just caught up in the romance. A dark, possessive glint flickered in his eyes. This was it. The checkmate moment he'd been engineering all along. With a smirk that could melt steel playing on his lips, he leaned in and purred, asking if she was ready to make that little dream a reality. And poof, just like that, any little shred of doubt she had left just vaporized in the electric charge between them. He yanks her into an embrace so passionate it could start a fire, their mouths crashing together, getting deeper and more desperate by the second. He pulls back, just enough to breathe, and whispers her name, Claire, his finger tracing the outline of her lips as she just stares up at him, completely and utterly mesmerized. The Grand Elder Grand Hotel stood there against the night sky, a giant, sparkling beacon of wealth that did absolutely nothing to cool the fire of resentment burning in AJ's gut. A heavy sigh escaped him as he moved through the ridiculously polished lobby, the marble floors reflecting all the gaudy, expensive lights. He was so over this place, completely done with the whole fake show. With a stride full of purpose, AJ stepped into the elevator, his hand shooting out to jab the call button, his face a perfect mask of cool, calculated indifference. The doors slid open, revealing a mirrored cage where his reflection stared right back at him, a flicker of pure defiance in its eyes. Inside that little box, he told himself, I am so fucking done with this charade. As the doors began to slide shut, so close it was suffocating, trapping AJ in his own private pressure cooker of frustration as his eyes narrowed, practically sizzling with a dangerous spark. I swear, the air in that office was so thick with daddy issues you could spread it on toast. And there's my boy, AJ, a high school senior, stuck in his father's ridiculously perfect, sterile white office. He'd been summoned, yanked out of CRAM school for what was, inevitably, another lecture. Hey, AJ mumbled, the sound just dripping with exhaustion. His father, a guy who walks into a room and sucks all the oxygen out, finally glanced up from his papers. AJ, you're here? Come on over, he gestured, holding out a fat stack of documents like a king offering a quest. I was at CRAM school, and you just dragged me over here. What gives this time? AJ shot back, not even trying to hide how over it he was. His father's reply was a torpedo. You're coming with me to Singapore tomorrow for the shareholders meeting. Take these and get familiar. And just like that, you could see AJ's brain short-circuit. The kid had a monster exam the next morning, but his father's words were basically a royal decree. Huh? Sorry, Dad. I've got an exam tomorrow. I really can't go. You should just take your secretary this time, he tried, attempting to deflect the heat. I missed so much class playing your little business partner. I'm already way behind my classmates. And that's when his father's face turned to granite. Sitting in a classroom can't compare to what you learn out in the real world. And just like that, the tension in the room cranked up to 11. Then came the guilt trip, the whole destiny speech. Don't forget, I missed so much class playing your little business partner. I'm already way behind my classmates. You should just take your secretary this time, he tried, attempting to deflect the heat. You're the sole heir to my 5-star hotel business. All you do is screw around. How can I possibly trust you with the future? The old man scoffed, basically asking if all AJ wanted to do was chase skirts. But my dude had hit his limit. He just detonated, his voice cracking with years of being put in a box. It was like pouring gasoline on a bonfire, just feeding that rebellious fire inside AJ. With this condescending smirk, all he wants is a little bit of freedom. But his father is a freaking brick wall, coldly firing back that this is all for his own good. Yeah, right. Classic villain line from a romance manhwa. He was screaming that he's been on a leash since he was a kid, forced to ghost any chance of having actual friends. But his father just slammed his hand down on the desk, shutting it all down. This isn't a discussion, it's a command. And that was it. The final straw. AJ's hand clenched into a white-knuckled fist. With a spine of pure steel, my boy AJ finally drops the bomb. He's out. Done. Leaving this gilded cage for good. AJ desperately played his last card, reminding him he's 18 now, a senior in high school. Growl. What did you say? But AJ, he screamed it right back, telling him he was leaving, his voice echoing with the sound of a door slamming shut forever. But his dad's rage was just bubbling under this creepy calm surface. The air went so still you could hear a pin drop as his father's eyes narrowed into these dangerous psycho slits, his voice a low. And who held all the purse strings? Then, with this sick little smirk, he delivered his big ultimatum. If AJ walks, he walks with nothing. He'd make sure my boy was stripped bare, not a single thing to his name. And to really twist the knife, he slides a single, pathetic credit card across the desk. His voice dropped to that low, possessive grumble again, making sure AJ knew who was king of the castle. But the threat was totally limp. All the money in the world couldn't buy him another second of AJ's obedience. You could see the fire in AJ's eyes. This new inferno. As he made one last, a shiny plastic leash. A little symbol of the financial prison he'd kept his own son in. AJ pulls his motorcycle over, the engine sputtering and dying out into the lonely, black night. He delivered his big ultimatum. If AJ walks, he walks with nothing. He'd make sure my boy was stripped bare. Desperate pitch for his own damn life. All he wanted was to just be times himself asterisk. With literally nowhere else to go, the room was even more pathetic than he could have imagined. He just collapses onto this laughably small bed. You could see the fire in AJ's eyes. This new inferno. As he made one last, he glances up at some flickering, sleazy motel sign, and this grimace just twists his perfect lips as he realizes this sad little place is his only option. Like, yesterday. He flips open his laptop, and that familiar digital glow illuminates his ridiculously determined face. But there's no time for a pity party. Survival mode was officially on, which meant he needed cash, his own father, teaching him how to play the market just last week. A wry smile plays on his lips. Oh, he remembered the lesson perfectly, recognizing the signs of a coming crash. This whole drama felt like a dark romance manhwa, and the very tool his father controlled him with might just be his ticket to true independence. His eyes are glued to the screen, the glowing chart of his future reflected in that intense gaze. He expertly sets his order, determined to ride the market's climax perfectly. And then, a satisfying little times cha-ching times rings out. Profit. It wasn't a fortune, but it was all his. A defiant smirk just takes over his face as he basically swears an oath to get filthy rich, just to spite the old man. The sound of successful trades became the new soundtrack to his life. A constant, sexy rhythm of victories just piling up, day after day. A few months later, and let me tell you, the scene is drastically different. So, my boy AJ cashed in and swapped a sketchy motel room for some 5-star beach fantasy, complete with a cocktail umbrella. But get this. He's watching some lovey-dovey couple wander into the surf, and instead of feeling relaxed, a different kind of wave hits him. Soul-crushing boredom. Yeah, he got the bag, but this whole finding yourself travel gig felt completely empty. Like a hollow chocolate bunny. He ditched school for times this asterisk, while the rest of us were drowning in textbooks. And for the very first time, a genuinely shocking idea bubbles to the surface. What if he just went back? Finished his last year of high school, and times went on the hunt for his old man. The ocean's trying to whisper sweet nothings, but AJ ain't listening. Yeah, paradise was officially canceled. So, as AJ is giving the big blue ocean the death stare, only one salty thought bounces around in that thick skull of his. He's actually wondering how the old man is doing. Unbelievable, right? And just like that, decision made. He ditches the sand and sun for the cold, hard, brick-and-mortar reality of our old high school. And of course, it's the first damn day of the semester. Naturally, his grand return does not go unnoticed. A wave of whispers ripples through a gaggle of girls as soon as they lay eyes on him. They're all buzzing about how he's even hotter in person, but all their fluttering eyelashes mean jack squat to him. Seriously, he doesn't even notice. There's just this lump of lead sitting in his chest as he trudges through the courtyard. His feet feel like they're glued to the pavement. The whole crew is gone. Man, they all graduated. Off living the college dream. And right when that lonely vibe is about to swallow him whole, a voice cuts through the noise. Someone's yelling his name. He looks up, and there's a girl just booking it straight for him. The voice belongs to a girl who's now bent over, totally winded, trying to catch her breath right in front of him. It's Jenny, his childhood partner in crime, and she immediately starts giving him hell, in that playful way she has, for not even sending a text that he was coming back. For a hot second, AJ is just completely speechless. He just mumbles some weak sauce apology about having a lot on his plate or whatever. But her fake pissed-off routine vanishes in a flash, replaced by this smile that could power a small city. She is just so ridiculously stoked they're both seniors in the same class, like this is the plot of some spicy romance manhwa. As they start walking, AJ's doing that thing where he rubs the back of his neck, feeling like the ancient super senior fossil of the school. But before he can spiral into his emo man cave, Jenny's like, "You're not the only one," and right on cue, another familiar voice screams his name, and bam, a pair of arms ambushes him from behind. It's our boy Chio, who was supposed to be off at some university. Turns out, he pulled a gap year too, making this one hell of an unexpected reunion. Chio just lets out this huge laugh, a laugh of pure relief, joking that for a minute there, he was panicking about who he was gonna leech homework off of. But before he can spiral into his emo man cave, Jenny's like, "You're not the only one," and right on cue, that easy back and forth felt normal, good, even. And for just a second, a wave of something that wasn't total dread washed over him. Okay, so for a hot second, my boy AJ actually felt a flicker of genuine gratitude. I mean, his friends are solid gold. But this little reunion was just a gas station stop on the highway to payback. A little later, you've got him doing his best brooding hero impression across from Daddy Dearest's favorite 5-star joint, just waiting. I mean, his friends are solid gold. But this little reunion was just a gas station stop on the highway to payback. Okay, so for a hot second, my boy AJ actually felt a flicker of genuine gratitude. Then, right as the sky is doing that sexy, bruised purple thing, this all-too-familiar engine starts purring through the evening air. A slick black sedan slides into view, and bam, AJ's whole vibe goes from pensive to ice-cold killer. He knows that ride. The sedan glides to a stop, its engine practically screaming his dad's name. And AJ's eyes, they narrow to slits, locked on that car like a heat-seeking missile. A figure gets out, and then, another. There's his father. Big surprise. But it's the woman on his arm that just yanks AJ's attention right off its chain. A full-on, what the hell shiver zaps down his spine the second he recognizes her. Oh, he times that face. And it's a total mind screw. Seeing her there. So different from the cold front he was used to. His brain starts short-circuiting. You can literally see the realization sparking behind his eyes, a theory that's about to set his whole world on fire. Could she be the old man's new flavor of the month? This woman, with hair like spun gold, and eyes so blue they could drown a man? She turns, just for a second, and her gaze cuts right through the gloom, almost like she knows he's there. She's clutching this little purse, and holding herself with this quiet elegance that just does not compute. And my dude AJ feels this jolt of something. He can't even put a name on it. It's like shock, betrayal, and a whole lot of this just got complicated all blended into one nasty cocktail. Then the scene gets even more dramatic, like something straight out of a spicy romance manhwa. He watches his dad offer her a wad of cash. But her reaction? Crystal clear, even from across the street. A flinch, a hesitant refusal, a look of pure discomfort. And that's when AJ gets this twisted, satisfied little smirk. Just as I thought, he basically purrs to himself, and you can just see the gears of his revenge plot clicking into place, solid as a rock. Cut to later, the door to a private room rumbles open, and the very same woman steps inside, and freezes dead in her tracks. Her brilliant turquoise eyes go wide, like she's just seen a ghost. A tiny, shocked gasp pops out of her mouth as she takes in the full, glorious disaster of the scene. And AJ? He's got this perfectly crafted smirk on his face, totally and completely icing out his own father standing right next to her. His intense gaze is a full-body scan aimed only at her. "It is," he says, his voice pure silk and venom. "A pleasure to meet you." Boom. The first shot in his personal war has just been fired. And honey, his target just walks straight into the kill zone. So, just when AJ thought his day was already a total dumpster fire, he spots a familiar figure. It's his father. The very man he ran away from, casually waltzing out of some swanky building like he owns the world. But get this, and surprise, surprise, he's not flying solo. He's got some arm candy that looks fresh out of her freshman year. I mean, she should be cramming for midterms, not clinging to a dude who could be her grandpa. And poor AJ. His brain is just doing cartwheels. He's trying to make sense of this walking, talking, midlife crisis. He's got to get the tea, so he starts peeking. And let me tell you, what he sees through that window? The plot thickens. Big time. His old man slides a brick of cash across the table like a serious stack and tells her it's all hers. She's doing the whole flustered, "Oh, I couldn't possibly" routine. But Daddy Dearest isn't having it, telling her it's for tuition, and that she's earned it. "Oh, I bet she has." Then he gets all handsy, slapping his paw right on top of hers, shoving that cash into her hand, and she's just sitting there, totally stunned, with those big, shiny doe eyes. You know, the kind that are about to spill over. Meanwhile, AJ's jaw could crack a walnut. It all clicks into place for him, and boy, is it ugly. So that's times why his dad's been ghosting him. He's been way too busy playing sugar daddy with his new little project to even remember he has a son. And just like that, a whole lifetime of crap comes rushing back. All those bitter pills he had to swallow. He remembers acing his exams, only for his dad's promised word to be put on the permanent back burner. He remembers being forced to dance to every single one of his dad's tunes, even getting iced out from his own mom after the divorce. School, work, you name it. AJ jumped through every single hoop his father set up, desperately chasing a pat on the head that never came. And seeing his father now, making it rain on some random girl without a second thought, confirms everything. This entire scene is straight out of a twisted romance manhwa. The bastard hasn't changed one bit. He's still the same self-serving prick who only ever gives a damn about number one. While AJ, his own son, was grinding and suffering, his father was taking what was basically AJ's inheritance and just handing it over to a complete stranger. Oh, the rage is just sizzling inside him. He spins on his heel, turning his back on that whole pathetic display, and walks away with this heavy, purposeful stride. For like a hot second, a fleeting, bitter thought crosses his mind, like a sarcastic little, "hope you two are happy." But nah, that feeling lasts about as long as a Snapchat. It just shatters. The shadows crawling across his face can't cover up that dangerous spark lighting up his eyes as something cold and hard settles in him. He is so done begging for table scraps from that old fool. He's done playing the invisible son. From this moment on, he's not asking for a damn thing. He's just going to take it, all of it. And right on cue, Daddy's new little toy is making her exit, hopping into a cab. He is so done begging for table scraps from that old fool. He's just going to take it, all of it. And right on cue, Daddy's new little toy is making her exit. He snapped his helmet into place, his gaze a burning laser beam right through the visor. But my boy AJ wasn't about to let his one and only clue just vanish into the city lights. With ice in his veins, he raises his phone. Asterisk. Click asterisk. Nope. The taxi rolls up to a tiny, humble-looking cafe. The girl practically tumbles inside, breathlessly apologizing to her friend for being late and offering to throw on an apron and jump right in. The supposed sugar baby is clocking in for a part-time shift. You could literally see the confusion glitching across AJ's handsome face. But get this, the big chase doesn't end at some swanky high-rise or a designer store. Hour after agonizing hour, his father's new little project is surprisingly dedicated. This was definitely not in the script he'd cooked up in his head. Lurking in the shadows, AJ watches the clock on the cafe wall tick by. As closing time finally creeps in, she and her coworker start the nightly shutdown routine. But right on cue, like a scene from a spicy romance manhwa, the little bell on the front door chimes, cutting through the quiet. She turns, a professional little welcome forming on her lips, floating between tables without a single trace of the money-hungry viper he'd been picturing. Magnetic pull that immediately hijacks the entire room's atmosphere. Her friend audibly gasps, whispering about the godlike stranger, and all my girl can do is stammer, but the words just die in her throat. Because there, filling the doorway, is AJ. Radiating a dark, her coworker is having a Category 5 meltdown, hissing that if she didn't already have a man, she'd be climbing him like a tree right now, completely and utterly ambushed by the walking temptation that just invaded her workspace. Taking a shaky breath, the poor girl approaches AJ's table, trying to keep her cool by babbling about the daily special. But honey, AJ isn't there for a latte. She's literally begging her friend to handle this one, terrified she's about to risk it all for a total stranger. He tells her he's not interested in anything on the menu. He's been interested in her times from the second he laid eyes on her. The question just hangs there, sizzling in the air. Can he get to know her? She's completely short-circuiting, a blush creeping up her neck so fast she looks like a tomato, and she just stammers. He dismisses the menu with a flick of his wrist, his gaze locked on her like a heat-seeking missile. The coworker comes charging to the rescue. Without even hesitating, her coworker Somi dives right in, totally unable to form a single word. Seeing her friend about to spontaneously combust, tacking on that she's 21 and 100% single and ready to mingle. And Claire? She looks like she wants to die, playing the most chaotic wingwoman in history. She blurts out her friend's name, Claire, as he smoothly introduces himself. AJ, 19. Meanwhile, Somi is practically buzzing out of her skin, ready to orchestrate this whole romance manhwa plot herself. She practically yanks a beet-red Claire by the arm, hauling her into the back room for an emergency intervention. Oh, the cat is officially out of the bag. And AJ? He just soaks it all in, this little smirk playing on his lips like he's just been handed the keys to the candy store. She's practically pleading, insisting it's high time Claire let someone new into her. Well, into her life. Especially after all that drama she went through. Somi's selling it hard, convinced there's zero harm in a little friendly conversation. So, with one last, not-so-gentle shove, she launches her friend back into the lion's den, right toward the gorgeous predator waiting at the table. Seriously, powered only by Somi's freight train-level encouragement. Time for a serious pep talk. Somi's laying it on thick. Like, girl, a walking sculpture like that doesn't just wander in here every day. Taking this as a total victory, immediately gives her the next mission. Make him her favorite drink, a Thai iced tea. A little detail, Claire is completely floored that Somi even remembered. A second later, with her heart doing a drum solo against her ribs, she nervously slides the drink onto AJ's table, trying not to spill it all over his perfect self. But let's be real. Our boy AJ isn't even looking at the drink. His eyes are locked on her, sharp enough to cut glass, just slicing right through her as he says, "You like Thai iced tea?" And honey, that was not a question. Claire finally caves with this tiny, mortified little squeak of an okay. Somi, and boom, there it is. That dangerous smirk plays on his lips as he glances down at the glass. Claire finally caves with this tiny, mortified little squeak of an okay. Somi, just slicing right through her as he says, "You like Thai iced tea?" And honey, that was not a question. That was a full-on declaration. She's so stunned that he's already reading her like a book. All she can do is give a tiny, pathetic nod. Whispers are flying everywhere. A couple of students are just gawking at this ridiculously hot guy. Looks like he's about to develop a real taste for it. Because, baby, this hunt is just getting started. And of course, that's when Somi, our resident chaos agent, starts dragging a very unwilling Claire to see what the big deal is. There's a whole crowd buzzing by the main gates. And you know something's up. It can't be him. But before she can even process it, Somi is flailing her arms like a maniac, yelling AJ's name and proudly announcing, "I brought your girl, my poor mortified friend," casually leaning against the wall. Speculating if he's some kind of celebrity or a lost K-drama lead, he just smoothly greets them both by name. Peeking over her bag, she squeaks out a, "What are you doing here?" And with a smile that could literally melt the polar ice caps, he says he got out of class early and just had times to see her. And just like that, mission accomplished. Somi makes a tactical exit, leaving a completely frazzled Claire. But as they push through the crowd, Claire's eyes go wide. Oh no. Disbelief hits her like a ton of bricks. His voice, all low and smooth, just slices through the tension, asking if him waiting around is making her squirm. Instantly tries to become one with her handbag, but it's way too late. The damage is done. He's so cool about it too. She's just not used to getting the full court press. AJ's gaze practically melts as he sighs that it's been 2 agonizingly long weeks. With her chained to her desk, alone with the one guy who's been living rent-free in her head for weeks. And his voice. But he pulls a classic Uno reverse card, claiming he's the one worried she's gonna burn out. Then, real casual-like, he points out the cafe's dark, so she must be off the clock. Asterisk, unless asterisk, he purrs with a look that could melt steel. She has some. Asterisk other times special duties to attend to? And Claire, bless her heart, totally fumbles, swearing it's not a big deal. Before she can blink, his hand is swallowing hers as he declares he's taking her someplace decadent to eat. Oh yeah, the hunt is times on. They've barely even breathed the same air. Guilt starts creeping in, and she's about to apologize. This isn't just a dinner date, my friend. This is a scene straight out of a high-stakes romance manhwa. AJ is rolling out the whole 9 yards, escorting his dad's new lady into a private room that probably costs more than my car. She totally exhales, confirming she's all his for the day. And boom, this wicked little smile creeps onto his lips. Her brain is doing calculus trying to process the insane prices. It's her first time in a place this fancy, where even the breadsticks probably have a payment plan. But our boy AJ? The scene then cuts to this ridiculously bougie hotel, like, dripping in gold at sunset, telling her not to even glance at the numbers and to just point at whatever her little heart desires. He's got this. What an absolute power move. But even with that 5-star offer, as a waiter stands by looking bored, the poor woman's eyes are bugging out, her composure just shattering as she scans the menu, probably eyeing the cheapest salad on the menu. Still, a thought is cementing itself in her mind. That little gut feeling she had from the start that AJ was a big deal? Yeah, it's screaming at her now that she was dead on. And just when she thought the night couldn't get any more extra, he's cool as a cucumber, just lounging in his chair with that killer smirk. And my man just smirks, casually dropping that it would be more comfortable for her since she's wearing a skirt. She's trying to play it cool, insisting she'll cover her own meal. She feels so far out of her league she can't even see the shore. AJ casually leads her outside to a gleaming red sports car that looks like it flew in from the future. Stunned, she asks if it's actually his. He leans in, all smooth concern, and murmurs her name, asking if she's okay with all this. And my girl admits it, feeling like a commoner who just stumbled into a royal ball. But this is where AJ, the little predator, sees his opening and flips the script with a killer, sly question. The absolute nerve. I love it. This next-level flex just sends her mind into a total tailspin. He's playing the underdog, as if he's worried he can't measure up. And bam. Claire.exe has just stopped working. After rebooting her entire system, Claire takes a breath and quietly lays out her philosophy on love. Basically, she's not checking birth certificates. The number of candles on the cake is totally irrelevant. The absolute nerve. I love it. This next-level flex just sends her mind into a total tailspin. After rebooting her entire system, Claire takes a breath and quietly lays out her philosophy on love, wondering why a guy this god-tier perfect would be wasting his time on her. Back inside, AJ totally picks up on her sudden panic. He leans back, all casual, and then passes the ball to her court, telling her she gets to pick their next battlefield. Date spot. And poor Claire, her confidence meter is flashing red again as she stammers something about how she only knows, regular, boring places. But our boy AJ? He's playing 4D chess over here. He gets all close, his voice dropping an octave, asking if she's got a thing for older, more experienced men. And he purrs that it's perfect. He just wants a tour of her world. A little peek behind the curtain. And right when the air is thick enough to chew, the director yells, "Cut!" And we flash forward 3 whole days. We're back in the jungle, high school. And there's AJ, wearing a smirk so smug it ought to be illegal. He's just glued to his phone, grinning like he just discovered the cheat codes to life. And it is so painfully obvious. It's all about whether 2 souls just click, That connection is the only currency that matters to her. Then his buddy, with zero chill, just blurts out that our boy AJ is in the middle of trying to lock down a college girl. And boom! The rumor mill just went into overdrive. He is so busted. He admits he was so worried she was only into silver foxes. "Oh, please, total checkmate, the little genius. We're just talking," he says. "It's nothing." Yeah, right. That Cheshire cat grin is telling a whole different, much spicier story. His face is practically screaming that this is a full-blown romance manhwa plot in the making. Later that night, with rain lashing the windows for dramatic effect, guess who's back on the hunt? There he is, sprawled out in his PJs, with a level of focus usually reserved for a final boss in a video game. That blue glow from his phone just highlights the pure, unadulterated determination on his face. He just glides his hand across the table, his fingertips doing this little electric slide against hers. "Claire, you busy Sunday?" Simple. Direct. And like clockwork, a reply pops up. It's Claire. She hits him back with a chipper little message saying her work is all wrapped up. And our boy AJ? He doesn't miss a beat, suggesting a low-key lunch in the park. But then, she pauses, bringing up a little complication. So naturally, some nosy classmate drapes herself over his shoulder, dying to know who's got him all Twitter-pated. He slides in all smooth, promising that if the sky opens up, he'll just whisk her away somewhere else in his car, totally diffusing her little worry bomb. And just like that, she's in. Locking down the next chapter of this disaster. AJ shoots his friend a look that could curdle milk, grumbling that he's not deaf, before trying to play it all cool. This wicked little grin spreads across his face as he stares at the rain, practically praying for a flood. Yeah, the harder it pours, the better for his little game. And that's when the real, ugly truth starts bubbling up. His old man hasn't even shot him a text since their big blow-up. He's just sitting there, coldly picturing the scene. His thumbs are a total blur, orchestrating his next tactical strike in this little game of hearts. Yup. Now it's just a waiting game. And in one last cold as ice thought, he throws a silent sorry to the whole rainy season situation. But of course, our boy has a comeback for everything. Sunday rolls in under a perfectly dramatic, moody sky. The stage is set at some picturesque park by the lake, where AJ is posted up under a tree, looking like a Zen master of patience. Yeah, right. But the second that phone clatters on the table, Mr. Prince Charming clocks out for the day, and looking like an absolute peach in a little pink dress. She's all apologies for being late, his dad's face when he finds out his forgotten son has been plowing his favorite field. A plot twist worthy of a dark romance manhwa, lying that he literally just got there. And that's when his eyes lock onto it. She's carrying a legit, old-school picnic basket, and for a split second, the mask slips, and he accidentally blurts out that she's cute. Whoops. She gets all blushy, admitting she actually made sandwiches and hopes he's into them. With his master plan humming along perfectly, AJ slaps on that $1,000,000 smile, gushing that he can't wait to get a taste, as he pulls her along to find the perfect spot to lay their blanket. The totally clueless Claire. Poor girl. She really shouldn't have ever crossed paths with his father. Just like clockwork. While swan boats float by, Claire lets out this happy little sigh, talking about how peaceful it all is. She even confesses that on her days off, she comes here all by herself just to chill. But our boy AJ? He is so not feeling the Zen garden vibes. Inside, he's whining that watching boats is a total snooze fest, and that they should have just gone to the movies. A sweet voice chirps his name, and he glances up to see Claire, hustling over to him, screeching halt the second he actually turns his head and lays his eyes on her. Inside, he's whining that watching boats is a total snooze fest, and that they should have just gone to the movies, asking if he's been waiting forever. But our master manipulator just waves it off. In that 1 second, it clicks. AJ finally gets it. He gets exactly times why his old man was so hooked, is just completely mesmerized by her. Her bright voice finally yanks him out of his daze, and he turns to see Claire dangling a sandwich right in his face, offering him the very first taste. AJ's brain just blue screens for a second as he processes that she's actually, for real, trying to feed him. Not about to let this golden opportunity slip by, he smoothly intercepts her wrist, guiding the sandwich to his own mouth. He takes a bite and whoa. AJ's brain just blue screens for a second as he processes that she's actually, for real, way beyond anything he was expecting. Claire eat it so fast. But my man is absolutely hooked, mumbling with a mouthful of heaven about how incredible it is. And that's when he clocks it. A tiny little dollop of dressing on the back of her hand. She starts to get all before she can even think about a napkin. Our boy AJ swoops in and snags her hand. And oh, in a move that's pure, uncut audacity, he cranks the heat. Her face goes supernova red as she just stares at him, her brain clearly having a blue screen of death moment. He pulls back with a smirk so smooth it should be illegal, holding up her hand for inspection. See? All clean now, he purrs. Her heart is doing a drum solo against her ribs, and she manages to squeak out something about not joking like that, her voice a total ghost. But our boy AJ isn't about to let her off the hook. Oh no. He glides right back into her personal space, his eyes practically pinning her to the spot as he asks, "You shy?" And just as the tension is about to snap, a huge crack of thunder rips through the air. The sky turns a nasty shade of gray and just opens up, unleashing a flash flood. Claire just looks up, stunned, muttering about the rain as giant drops start machine gunning their blanket, completely torpedoing their perfect date. While the sky is having a total meltdown, AJ looks like he planned the whole thing. In fact, this slick, calculating look flashes in his eyes as he calls out to Claire over the roar of the rain. He suggests they duck for cover, casually dropping that his place is literally right around the corner. A few minutes later, they're standing soaked to the bone in the entryway of a massive, sleek mansion, making puddles on the marble floor. Claire is completely shell-shocked, her mind just buffering at the sheer scale of his house as she watches the monsoon get even worse outside. And just like that, the game has been officially upgraded. AJ finds her still dripping by the door, just hovering awkwardly by the door like a lost puppy. With this little smirk, he points out she hasn't budged an inch. He dangles a fresh towel like a peace offering. The ruined picnic is a distant, soggy memory, replaced by this brand new, 5-alarm fire of private, dangerous tension. The rain is just hammering this gorgeous modern mansion, trapping our boy AJ inside with the one girl he's been after. He's gently rubbing a towel through her drenched, platinum blonde hair, his voice a low rumble as he points out she's completely soaked. All flustered, she apologizes, saying she never saw a storm like this coming. Buddy, this is the opening he's been waiting for. AJ switches on the full-on gentleman charm, insisting she take a hot shower to avoid getting sick, even offering the shirt off his back. But when my girl politely declines, oh boy, he sees his opening, to go in for the kill. He drops her name. They first met, he hasn't been able to get her out of his head. His hand casually slides down to her thigh as he admits how ridiculously happy she makes him feel. Claire, and boom, full-on blush mode activated. Her cheeks are practically glowing as AJ pulls a move straight out of some steamy romance manhwa, leaning in and erasing every last inch of daylight between them, until their faces are so close she can feel the heat rolling off him. His gaze is a full-blown electrical storm as he closes the gap, whispering that this is 100% real. And you can just see the gears turning in his head, thinking, I'm so close, to the finish line. This isn't some game to him anymore. He tightens his grip on her hand, sealing the deal. His voice drops to that low, panty-dropping purr he does so well as he finally pops the million-dollar question. Would she be his? And girl, Claire's big blue eyes go wide as dinner plates, her heart doing a drum solo against her ribs. Just as the question is hanging there, all ripe and juicy, in the air, a huge crack of thunder splits the sky, lighting up her totally torn expression. Oh, the drama. She gently slips her hand out of his and turns away with this heavy-as-hell sigh. She thanks him for being so honest but hits him with the classic, I'm just not ready. And honey, the switch-up is immediate. AJ's whole Prince Charming routine just melts away, leaving behind this ice-cold, hard-ass stare. You could practically hear the bitter thought echoing in his skull. Naturally, his first thought is that she's only pumping the brakes because she's scared of losing the sugar daddy lifestyle his old man funds. But just, as fast as it dropped, that charming mask is slapped right back on. He scoots a little ways away from her, apologizing for coming on too strong. But Claire, bless her heart, insists it's all her fault, mumbling something about a string of trash exes and the fact she's juggling 2 damn jobs, which, of course, just makes her fret about not having time for him. But AJ's brain immediately takes that and marinates it in pure paranoia, instantly deciding her part-time job is just code for servicing his dear old dad. On the outside, though? Oh, he's a saint. Leaning in, voice dripping with sincerity, he promises to wait for however long it takes, if she'll just bless him with a chance. His voice is pure, melted caramel, but let me tell you, his thoughts are a toxic sludge of payback. Yeah, he'll wait an eternity, as long as he gets to utterly ruin them. So, the storm outside has cleared, and the morning is all sunshine and rainbows, with the last little raindrops plinking off the leaves. AJ's walking Claire out, clearly dragging his feet because he doesn't want their little rendezvous to be over. He lays it on thick, offering her a ride, but she gracefully shoots him down, saying she's already got a car on the way. And dude, you can practically see the rejection hit him like a freight train. He's sighing on the inside, thinking this entire seduction was a total flop, a pathetic kickoff to what was supposed to be their first date. But then, just when he's about to start moping, Claire pulls a move straight out of a romance manhwa and flips the whole script. She totally clocks his pouty face and jumps in to save the day, suggesting they do this again. And not just that, get this, she promises to cook for him next time. Then, she unleashes the main event. She tells him that even with the monsoon, she didn't think the date was a disaster at all. AJ's head practically snaps off his neck. He clings to that little crumb of hope, promising their next date will be legendary. And while he's soaking in this unexpected win, she shyly gets his attention again. Just when my boy AJ thinks he's hit the jackpot, Claire goes and completely fries every circuit in his brain. She leans in, plants this soft, lightning-fast kiss on his cheek, and thanks him for being so patient, all while promising their third date will be even more amazing. Like, whoa. But the moment's gone in a flash as her ride pulls up. With one last, bubbly wave, she vanishes, leaving AJ standing there on the sidewalk looking completely dumbfounded. He just stares as the car disappears, this glazed look in his eyes as his fingers slowly drift up to graze the still tingling spot on his cheek. And then, the nice guy facade just shatters. Man, the whiplash is gonna give you a concussion. That bright, sunny street just evaporates, replaced by this dark, twisted energy just pouring off him. A sick, victorious smirk crawls across his lips, and his eyes are practically glowing with pure, unadulterated malice. Oh yeah, he's thinking. Next time, she's all his. Next time, he's taking everything he's owed. And just like that, the camera pans away from AJ's deliciously dark little victory and zooms in on the heart of his father's kingdom, the glittering, sun-soaked tower of the Golda Grand Hotel. And deep inside, in some ridiculously plush office, sits the king himself. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Pitch, totally lost in his corporate kingdom until a sharp rap on the door shatters the peace. In struts this blonde bombshell, her heels announcing her arrival like a declaration of war on the gleaming floor. Old Man Pitch tries to break the ice with some lame small talk about the damn rain, warning her not to get sick. His tone is this weird mix of a concerned daddy and something way creepier, with this little dig about how young girls are just too full of life to ever catch a cold. She just flashes this $1,000,000 smile, playing right into his little game and promising she'll do whatever she can to help him out, before, immediately changing the subject like her life depended on it. Cozy vibe in the room plummets. She drops the bomb. Has your son come home yet? And just like that, the office goes from chilly to a full-blown Arctic tundra. But our blonde firecracker doesn't back down. Her voice is pure steel as she tells Mr. Pitch it's high time he ripped the Band-Aid off and told his son the truth. And you guys, the great and powerful chairman finally starts to crumble. He deflates right into his throne-like chair, looking like he's carrying the entire world on his back. He finally admits he's totally clueless. AJ is still ghosting him, but of course, his massive ego kicks in. He gives her this cold little wave off, insisting AJ will come crawling back on his own terms. Sure, January. But right as she's about to make her grand exit, he calls her name. His eyes narrow, turning all sharp and predatory as he sizes her up. He points out that she's been in a suspiciously good mood, instructs this blonde bombshell, her heels announcing her arrival like a declaration of war on the gleaming floor, dripping with suspicion, and asks the one question she was so not prepared for. Are you in love? Bam. She locks up tighter than a bank vault, a total deer in the headlights as this insane blush crashes over her face. He gives her this cold little wave off, insisting AJ will come crawling back on his own terms. Sure, January. Oh, she is so busted, caught with her hand in the proverbial cookie jar. The poor woman turns to stone. She can't even form a word. But trust me, inside that pretty little head of hers, it is a whole other party. It's like the main character's theme song in a romance manhwa just started playing, confirming everything. Yep, practically glued to her phone. He leans in, his voice dropping to this low growl, that wildfire of a blush creeping up her neck while her eyes go as wide as dinner plates. Pitch is still slaving away when his desk phone screams to life, the noise cutting right through the dead quiet. He shoots it a dirty look, beautiful moon. And back in his cold, sterile palace of an office, Mr. completely replaced by pure, jaw-on-the-floor shock. Because the name glowing on the caller ID is the one he never, ever thought he'd see again. His son. It's AJ calling. Old man Pitch totally hit the bullseye with that one. Fast forward to later that night. With the city glowing under a big, "Daddy dearest." With a flicker of annoyance, the old man picks up, probably wondering what peasant would dare to call him at this ungodly hour. But then his irritation just vanishes. Oh, but on the other end, my boy AJ is the absolute picture of smug satisfaction. He's just lounging there, shirt open, giving the phone a smirk that could melt panties from a mile away. His voice already dripping with that signature condescending poison, asking if his little boy got lost and needs a map to find his way home. The old man ignores that little dig, of course, and just barks. "So when are you coming back?" Old man Pitch totally hit the bullseye with that one. Fast forward to later that night. With the city glowing under a big, and then, oh so casually, he drops that he's back to finish his senior year. And he just coolly shoots back that it sounds like his dear old dad is managing just fine all by himself. Yeah, as if AJ can't breathe without daddy's money. So AJ gives that knife one final, delicious twist, his voice just swimming in fake disappointment, pointing out how his dad never seems happy to hear from him. And he just coolly shoots back that it sounds like his dear old dad is managing just fine all by himself. He snaps that he's hanging up, and the line goes dead. But my boy AJ? Not even a little bit fazed. And that's it. The old man's last nerve just went time-sprowing asterisk. So yeah, game on. The next morning, he's rolling onto campus like he owns the place, letting out a massive yawn. See, he was up half the night on a video call, with none other than Claire, the girl who's supposed to be his revenge project. And get this, a real smile, a soft one, hits his lips. He just lets out this little scoff, and this look of pure, icy determination settles over his face. This little game of his is already starting to feel way, way too real. He's actually thinking about how they talked for times hours asterisk. Red flag, buddy. Major red flag. AJ! It's his classmate, Jenny, waving like a maniac as she jogs to catch up. She falls into step next to him, but her whole morning vibe is a lot. Before AJ can even blink, she's got her phone out and is already starting a damn TikTok live stream. "Hey guys," she chirps to her followers. "Look who I'm walking to school with today." You know, putting him directly under the spotlight. And of course, the chat just goes nuclear. And just as AJ's getting all lost in his Claire daydream, this super cheerful voice rips him right back to reality. It's all hearts and comments about shipping them. Jenny just giggles and leans in close. And just like that, my boy's life is some kind of live-action romance manhwa he never auditioned for. With a hopeful little blush, Jenny's like, "I think everyone ships us because yeah, they probably really do look like a couple." And get this, AJ actually finds the whole thing hilarious. And just like that, my boy's life is some kind of live-action romance manhwa he never auditioned for. Replaced by a sharp curiosity as she asks if he's still messing around with that college girl. Thinking on his feet, AJ throws up a wall, assuring her he had his reasons for that little detour, but he's totally done with her now. The wave of relief that crashes over Jenny's face is almost comical, as she admits he had her worried for a hot second. Replaced by a sharp curiosity as she asks if he's still messing around with that college girl. I would never be serious with times her asterisk. Oh. The lie is so thick you could choke on it as they stroll into school. The wave of relief that crashes over Jenny's face is almost comical, as she admits he had her worried for a hot second. But while she's basking in her little victory, a flash of ice hardens AJ's eyes. No way, he thinks with a dark kind of certainty. AJ is already in another dimension, his stylus just a blur across his tablet. A friendly voice yanks him out of his creative trance. It's his blonde-haired classmate, wondering why he launches into drawing the literal second class is over, barely hearing the teacher dismiss the class for the day. As the final bell screams through the classroom, there's a webtoon contest in just a few months. His buddy spots the fantasy characters on the screen, and his eyes light up. Rambling about how sick the genre is, with a look of pure focus, AJ explains that he can't waste a single minute. AJ tries to shrug it off, but his friend leans in, offering to help. But his excitement fizzles out fast when he picks up on AJ's weird vibe, pointing out how he was basically a zombie all through class. A sly little glint in his eye. "Well, what's she like?" his friend asks, totally taking the bait. Asterisk, Claire asterisk. The name just pops into his head, and AJ's focus completely shatters. His brain is once again 100% occupied by her. With his friend's question just hanging there, AJ's mind totally drifts off. It's like a scene from a romance manhwa, I swear. Seeing his opening, AJ kicks back and asks for some pro-level advice on where you take a girl to really blow her mind. He explains that she's into quiet places. She's a killer cook. And, let's be real, she's an absolute knockout. But the description goes way deeper than just what's on the surface. He admits that after he actually got to know her, he found this adorable, shy side to her, and discovered she's surprisingly chill to be around and a total hustler. His friend just listens, this massive, knowing smirk spreading across his face. "Oh," he teases, the word dripping with, "I told you so. Dude, you sound like you've completely fallen for her." That little comment lands like a bucket of ice water, and my boy AJ flinches like he's been zapped. A blush starts crawling up his neck so fast you'd think it was trying to escape. "Dude, we're just talking. It's not serious." Total defense mode. But his buddy just gives him this sugary sweet, "I don't believe you" for a second smirk, and yeah, agrees to play along. Then, a truly brilliant idea sparks in his friend's head, ripped straight from his favorite romance manhwa. He's all like, "Dude, take her stargazing." Going on and on about how epic a similar scene was in his story. But AJ's just sweating bullets, telling him not to mix up real life with some 2D fantasy. Still, the idiot actually makes the call later that night. And get this, Claire is absolutely losing her mind, practically vibrating with excitement through the phone. She confesses she's a total astro nerd but was always too shy to ask, thinking he'd be bored. She even offers to pack snacks. Meanwhile, AJ's in the shower, barely processing that his half-baked, borrowed idea actually landed. His moment of shock gets torpedoed when she chirps, "Want a video chat right now?" Oh, the timing. Thinking on his feet, my man AJ leans back, a wicked little smirk playing on his lips, and tells Claire he's fresh out of the shower, not a stitch on top, and asks if she times mine's asterisk. The bait is taken. She immediately squawks for him to put on a shirt, but that little blush blooming on her cheeks tells you everything she is times not complaining. And just like that, hours melt away as they get lost in conversation. It's smooth sailing until she glances at the clock and sees it's already hit 10 o'clock, and she's the one who pulls the plug, leaving AJ blinking in confusion from his bed. I mean, they went way later last night. You could see a flicker of disappointment on his face, but honestly, her logic is bulletproof. Gotta save their energy for the main event. And when he realizes she's right, he wishes her a good night, his hand practically strangling the phone with pure, unfiltered anticipation. The call ends, and AJ just collapses back onto his bed, the electricity of what's to come just humming through his veins. Then this slow, predatory smirk starts to spread across his face as he stares off into space. His gears are turning, you can just tell. His blue pajama top is hanging open, because of course it is, showing off that sculpted chest he knows is a lethal weapon, and this glint of pure determination hardens his gaze. He literally says out loud, "Tomorrow's the day. Better get ready." But let's be real, is he prepping for the stars? Or for the encore performance that comes after? Predatory smirk starts to spread across his face as he stares off into space. My guy is feeling on top of the world, totally prepared to see this drama through to its climax, no matter where it takes them. And bam. Next day, Operation Seduce and Destroy is a go. He strolls into a convenience store, looking like a full-course meal, and completely ignoring the clerk's starstruck greeting or the thirsty whispers from another customer. His mind is clearly in the gutter, not the grocery aisle. Back in that sinfully expensive sports car, he's ticking off his arsenal of purchases. Water, my girl Claire's favorite chocolate, and a little square box that promises a night of very intense cardio. With that predatory glint in his eyes, he calls his target. He slides into her ear over the phone, telling Claire he's on his way, so she shouldn't even think about the bus. As his finger brushes the ignition and the engine purrs to life like a panther, his ice-cold inner monologue spills the tea. This little conquest is taking way too damn long for his taste, and he's not about to let it drag on for more than 1 year. The hunt is officially on, and just like that, the scene flips. AJ whisks Claire off to some ridiculously stunning lakeside park, trading the city glow for a sky just dripping with stars. Claire, bless her heart, is completely mesmerized, gushing about how perfect the night is. Playing the part of the dream boyfriend, AJ just smoothly agrees and finds a perfect little spot to spread out a blanket for them. So, they get all cozy on the grass, and she leans in, all playful, asking what kind of deliciousness he's got packed in that little picnic basket. He lists it off, cocky as ever, fried fish and sweet and sour pork. But, hold up. The sunshine literally drains from Claire's face. She kinda mumbles that the pork is okay, but her voice just dies when she gets to the fish, and she leans in, all playful, asking what kind of deliciousness he's got packed in that little picnic basket, his eyes going wide with a flash of what looks like actual times panic. Did our master manipulator really just mess up? This is juicier than any romance manhwa. His panicked question just cuts through the romantic silence. He can't believe he made such a rookie mistake. Totally mortified, he starts apologizing for not asking her first, but then AJ pivots, giving her this wounded puppy smile and explaining that fish just happens to bring back some seriously awful memories for him. The whole world around them just melts away, sucking us into a painful memory. We see a lonely little boy, a mini AJ, eating all by himself while his parents' raging voices bounce off the walls. Then one night, a fishbone gets lodged right in his throat. He's absolutely terrified, can't make a sound, just silently crying as his parents. So wrapped up in their screaming match, they totally missed how wrecked he was. The war of words raged all the way to the hospital, which, plot twist, was the last time he ever saw his mom. So, back in the now, he drops this absolute heartbreaker of a confession he's been dragging around for years. That maybe, just maybe, their divorce was all his fault. The words just hang there, heavy and raw, knocking the air right out of Claire. Then, so softly, she just rests her head on his shoulder, and this one simple, trusting move completely short-circuits his entire, carefully crafted scheme. Totally blindsided by that dose of raw, unfiltered honesty, whatever game Claire was playing just poofed into thin air, like a plot twist in some steamy romance manhwa. And instead, she offers up this surprisingly tender promise. She offers him a shoulder to cry on, if he ever feels lonely. But hold up. In a move that would make any romance manhwa author proud, Claire completely flips the script. Instead of pity, she hits him with praise, telling him she sees just how hard he's been grinding. She's not looking at some trust fund baby. She's seeing a man who's sharp, driven, and totally in a league of his own. And girl, that little comment? It slams into him like a freight train, because for the very first time, someone's actually looked past the mountain of cash his family has to see the man who built himself. A quiet, almost shaky, thank you slips out, and then he leans in and plants this impossibly gentle kiss right on her forehead. And as they're staring up at that ridiculously perfect sky, wouldn't you know it, a shooting star just has to streak across the night. She, of course, loses her mind and tells him to make a wish. Quick! The whole vibe just shifted, AJ's just watching her, this little smirk teasing his lips as she squeezes her eyes shut and clasps her hands together, deep in wish-making mode. And he can't help but think she's ridiculously adorable, like a kid on Christmas morning. When she finally flutters her eyes open, he breaks the spell. Because my boy's curiosity is a beast that needs to be fed. She gets all rosy-cheeked and playfully shuts him down, not spilling her secret. Oh, but AJ is not the type to let that slide. He closes the distance between them, his voice dropping into that low, dangerous purr, and asks if that little wish of hers happened to be about him. And boom, she's a flustered mess, totally admitting it was, but swearing she can't say another word. And you can just see the wicked idea spark in his eyes. He gently cups her chin, his voice turning into pure, sinful velvet as he lays down a heart-pounding ultimatum. Tell me, or I'm going to kiss you until you do. The game is so back on, and he is playing for keeps. Her cheeks are practically on fire, as she looks away, totally cornered by his bold-as-hell power move. And with this little sigh that's supposed to sound defeated, she whispers that she guesses she doesn't have much of a choice. Does she? Honey, that wasn't a white flag. That was a damn engraved invitation. Not wasting a single damn second. AJ is on her, his fingers hooking under her chin to face his scorching gaze. And then he's all in, crashing into her lips with a kiss that literally sets the air on fire. The whole entire world just dissolves around them, leaving just the two of them in their own little bubble. He pulls back just an inch, a look of pure, smug victory lighting up his eyes. Still gasping for air and a total blushing mess, she tries to get some control back, sputtering that this means she's off the hook for telling him her wish, right? Oh, sweetie. AJ's triumphant smirk says it all. This game isn't over, it's just leveling up. And just like that, the kiss deepens, becoming something else entirely, and for a second, they are both completely gone, just lost in the heat. A soft little sound escapes her as her fingers instinctively bunch up the front of his shirt, clinging on for dear life. But just as quickly as the bonfire of passion roars to life, a bucket of ice-cold reality douses the flames. She shoves him back, her chest all kinds of heaving as she sputters for him to pump the brakes. And our boy AJ? He looks genuinely confused, asking what's the big deal, his eyes darting around like they're about to get busted. She points out the glaringly obvious. They're in public. Genius. This would be a 5-alarm scandal, but AJ just scoffs, tilting his head back to admire the stars with this infuriatingly chill vibe. He basically waves off her panic, all like, who cares? It's just a kiss. Oh, honey. But just as she's winding up to argue, his whole damn aura changes. He turns back, and his eyes are suddenly locked on hers, burning with an intensity that could melt steel. Claire? He breathes, his voice dropping into this low, serious gear. She looks up, totally blindsided, and he leans in close, delivering the knockout punch. A confession that's about to flip the whole script on everything. I like you. And bam. My girl is stunned into absolute silence by that little bombshell. Claire can only stare back at him, her heart doing a drum solo against her ribs. The game, the whole revenge plot. It all just poofs into smoke, leaving his words hanging there, all raw and heavy in the air between them. A soft little whoosh of air escapes her lips as she admits that she really likes him, too. In that first time, world-tilting kind of way. But seeing her completely genuine reaction, AJ suddenly hits the reverse switch. A flicker of something that looks a lot like guilt crossing his face. Claire can only stare back at him, her heart doing a drum solo against her ribs. The game, but Claire, bless her impulsive heart, cuts him right off, insisting it wasn't on him. With this sudden shot of courage, she looks him dead in the eye and lays it all out there. I like you a lot, too. And just like that, a slow, warm smile spreads across AJ's face, and just like that, all the drama melts away. And then he drops the one question that literally flips the script. So, should we do this? Be together? He asks, his fingers gently tracing through her hair. And let me tell you, that simple touch sent an electric current straight down her spine. She just melts into him, her heart thumping like a drum solo against her ribs. And with all that hope bubbling up, just one perfect word escapes my girl Claire's lips, loaded with enough excitement to power a small city. Okay. And right on cue, the wind picks up, and she suddenly notices the nip in the air. But our boy AJ? Oh, he's a master strategist. He sees his opening and leans in, his voice dropping to this low, velvety purr that sends a whole new set of shivers skittering down her back. And trust me, this had nothing to do with the temperature. He flashes this sly, confident smirk that could probably melt the polar ice caps, locks his eyes on hers, and goes in for the kill. He suggests they take their stargazing somewhere a little more intimate. You know, like his place. Oh yeah, homeboy is not wasting a single damn second. He is trying to take this game to a whole new level. He gets right up close, his voice a husky whisper that could charm the pants off. Well, anyone. And with that killer smirk playing on his lips, he drops the most classic line in the book, asking if she wants to come over to watch the stars. I mean, really? The audacity. The invitation just hangs there, catching her completely by surprise. Her eyes go wide, and she just sort of sputters his words back at him, like her brain can't process the suggestion. A furious blush starts climbing up her neck, intimate. You know, like his place. Oh yeah, homeboy is not wasting a single damn second, catching her completely by surprise. Her eyes go wide, and she just sort of sputters his words back at him, and she is officially a flustered mess. She immediately starts insisting that it would be better to, but her adorable flustered shutdown? It just seems to entertain him. And a low, knowing chuckle rumbles in his chest. Oh, this game is far from over, shyly admitting that she is not quite ready to jump to that chapter. Totally overwhelmed, she buries her face in his chest, telling her not to read too much into his little proposition. He plays it off with this charmingly lame excuse, insisting he was just worried she'd get cold. I mean, come on, this is straight out of a romance manhwa playbook. He suggests they just stay out a little longer before he takes her back to the dorm. Hiding a smirk behind his hand, AJ smoothly shifts into reverse. In one liquid smooth move, he slides his arms around her from behind, and the second she shyly agrees, he pounces, blushing, flustered mess. But later that night, the Prince Charming mask comes off. Sprawled out on his bed, pulling her back against his chest, so they're perfectly spooned. He murmurs that it's warmer this way, leaving her absolutely. He was so sure she'd be an easy win. Still, the boy's not giving up. I mean, they're officially dating now, so he figures it's just a matter of time before he gets another opening. And then, hold up the scene cuts to this ridiculously slick, red sports car, giving us a peek at the high-roller lifestyle AJ's getting used to. AJ lets out this growl of frustration. He seriously can't believe his little plan hit another wall. AJ and his own father's girlfriend are tangled up in a kiss that could start a forest fire, their bodies pressed so close there's no room for secrets. The air is crackling with some seriously forbidden energy. And inside? Oh, this is some next-level romance manhwa drama, praising her mouth-on-mouth action like he just discovered gold. Every touch and glance just pouring gasoline on the fire. As their lips finally part, AJ whispers he practically purrs, bulletproof. He just shrugs off her, what if someone sees us panic? Basically saying, babe, we're a thing now, this is the appetizer. Then he drops the bomb that he's actually holding back, hinting at the main course he's saving for later. The absolute nerve. And of course, my girl gets all flustered, trying to play it cool, but AJ's ego is just, this whole thing is a chess game for him, and trust me, this man is hell-bent on checkmate. And with that wicked little smirk of his, he co-opts her whole, let's take it slow idea. So yeah, they're officially dating, which is basically AJ setting the board for his next move. Then, smooth as ever, he's like, Let's get some food. Pulling her away before she can overthink it. And where does this Casanova take her? A greasy spoon diner. Girl was shook. But just as they're about to go in, he turns her words into his own personal love weapon, making it all part of his seduction playbook. The word dad lights up his screen like a warning sign, and AJ answers with pure, unadulterated annoyance. But that teenage rebellion act fades real quick when the call gets serious. Asterisk. Ring ring. Asterisk. The sound of a perfectly good makeout session going down the drain. The vibe just nosedives, and he hangs up with a sigh that could curdle milk. Well, looks like playtime's been paused by a family emergency. The call ends, and bam. The whole mood does a 180. AJ gets this dead serious look and starts apologizing. Suddenly, his face switches to reluctantly concerned son mode when he hears his old man is under the weather. Before she can even blink, he's got her by the hand, all firm and commanding. His brain is already 3 steps ahead, realizing they're gonna need a major change of plans. A little wardrobe upgrade for their destination. And honey? He doesn't just deliver. He overnights it with platinum service, saying they've got to bounce. Family drama just dropped. Gone are their regular clothes, swapped out for a suit on him that just screams, I own this city, and a jaw-dropping, angelic white dress for her that's pure main character energy. As they glide up to the hostess, the staff's instant fawning makes it painfully clear this is his world, and she's just visiting. He coolly confirms he's there to see his father. And you can practically see the hostess's brain short-circuit. My girl is quickly realizing there's a whole universe to AJ she's never even glimpsed. The staff's instant fawning makes it painfully clear this is his world, and she's just visiting. With a half-assed apology about the sudden switch-up, he explains he has to play CEO for a day for his dad at some last-minute, high-stakes dinner with the shareholders. You know, casual Tuesday night stuff. She manages a nod, her mind just spinning with the fact that his father isn't just rich, he's a freaking tycoon. Not wanting to just ditch his new toy, AJ starts leading her toward a private lounge, asking her to just hang tight and wait for him. But before he can even finish parking her for the evening, their little bubble is popped by a sharp, manicured voice calling his name. A woman named Jenny materializes, sizing up my girl with a look that could curdle milk. She drips sarcasm, asking if this is his girlfriend Claire, before introducing herself as a good friend. Yeah, right. Then, latching her claws onto his arm, Jenny starts pulling him along, reminding him that the whole damn party is waiting for the precious chairman's son to grace them with his presence. And just like that, AJ is ripped away, leaving a stunned Claire completely alone in a room that costs more than her entire life. Left high and dry, my poor girl's composure just shatters into a million tiny, glittering pieces. Standing there in that gilded cage, the beautiful dress he bought her suddenly feels like a cheap costume for a party she was never actually invited to. This world is too bright, too loud, and a cold, hard realization crashes over her. She is a fish out of water, and the water is made of champagne and broken dreams. She doesn't belong. Her brain immediately flashes to an image of Jenny, who fits against the chairman's son like a custom-made puzzle piece. She's seen them all over his social media, looking like the perfect power couple from some dramatic romance manhwa, and the comparison is a brutal, twisting knife in her gut. That sickening thought takes root. What if she's not the female lead in his story? What if she's just a fun little detour? She's seen them all over his social media, looking like the perfect power couple from some dramatic romance manhwa. The venomous whispers follow her as 2 women start gossiping about AJ's latest conquest, mysterious new date. And of course, the Mean Girls convention was in full swing in the ladies' room, their whispers slicing through the air, confirming every single one of Claire's paranoid little thoughts. These women were dishing out the dirt like it was their job, doing a full-on comparison between her and the oh-so-perfect Jenny, basically declaring AJ was slumming it. That kind of casual cruelty is a straight-up shot to the ego, leaving my girl feeling completely worthless. So after 2 agonizing hours of this pity party, the sound of determined footsteps finally breaks the silence. It's AJ, finding her huddled in the now empty lounge. He comes up behind her and gently strokes her hair, whispering that the corporate torture session was finally over. His gaze then drifts to the completely barren table. "Did you eat?" he asks. And Claire, too mortified to admit she'd been starving, just lies, pulling fried rice out of thin air. And him, bless his oblivious heart, just says she must really have a thing for it. He offers her a ride. But as they turn to go, Claire suddenly just freezes, plants her heels right into the carpet like she's grown roots. Nope, not moving an inch. AJ, sensing the sudden shift in the atmosphere, turns back, his voice dropping to that low, concerned timbre. "Hey, what's wrong?" With her eyes glued to the floor, the floodgates open, and all her insecurities just come pouring out. She mumbles something about how he and Jenny are just a better fit, how they just make more sense together. AJ, sensing the sudden shift in the atmosphere, turns back, his voice dropping to that low, concerned timbre. "Hey, what's wrong?" Before immediately apologizing for being a head case. but you could practically see the light bulb go on over AJ's head. It all clicked. This was why she'd been so quiet, why she made up that ridiculous lie about eating. And in one smooth, decisive motion, he closes the distance, backing her against the bar until her hands are pressed flat against his chest. Then he drops the bomb. "I knew you didn't eat," he says, explaining that he was so furious the staff had ignored her. He was about 2 seconds from having the whole crew fired. Then, locking his eyes on hers, he completely bulldozes her fears about Jenny. Then he drops the bomb. "I knew you didn't eat," he says, and his gaze just smolders with an intensity that could start a fire as he finally lays the simple truth on her. Then, locking his eyes on hers, he completely bulldozes her fears about Jenny, and Claire lets out this tiny gasp, a blush blooming across her cheeks. Every single one of her insecurities just evaporated in a puff of smoke, insisting that the only person on his radar is her. He starts loosening his tie, replaced by this pure, uncut joy. 2. Honey, that was all the invitation AJ needed. He closed that final gap between them, claiming her lips in a kiss that was a whole conversation without a single word. But the second they broke for air, you could see reality come crashing back, a flicker of sheer panic in her eyes, flashes across Claire's face. She puts a hand on the bar, a soft little pushback, insisting this is a bad idea. But AJ? Totally unfazed. He just whispers that they're all alone. "Just a little longer," he pleads, his voice like warm honey. And honestly, their little intimate bubble is about to get popped. Because peeking from a doorway is a woman with these intense, piercing green eyes. The look she's giving them? A full-blown hurricane. This is some next-level romance manhwa drama. And that's where we leave it for now. If you're still here, you're an absolute legend, and I seriously love you for it. These things are fueled by late nights, caffeine, and a borderline obsession, so knowing you're watching makes it 100% worth it. If you got a kick out of this, if you live for the tea, or if you're just as obsessed with this epic man as I am, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button, and you better smash that notification bell, because the next dark twist in this real-life romance manhwa is coming way faster than you ever could. Honey.